and sucking.
High school freshman who won the Incubate Debate scholarship from our tournament at Broward College, which is hosted over in Davie, Florida, in Broward County. It includes a quote from me that says, "Chance has worked hard over the past year to improve his skills, and it's incredible to see how much his hard work has paid off," says Incubate Debate founder and executive director James Fishback. And so this is referring to the event that we held that he was a participant of in Broward County. He's from Hendry County, which is where Clewiston is. That's the county seat. And I went out there to coach this young man, help him prepare, and he did extraordinary.
And what's the date on this article? Is this January
2023.
And so this is a year later.
Correct. And so what it says is, I'm quoting from
3 streams in one day.
Chance has worked hard over the past year to improve his skills, and it's incredible to see how much hard work has paid off. And that's because I went to Chance's school many a times. That was Clewiston Middle School at the time. The principal was Tina Kelly, right there off of US 27. And so I went into that school. I met with those students, and it was amazing to see what he had done in just a short year.
And looks like Exhibit 5, the next article is very similar. If it is, we don't need to go too into detail about it, but the next one is basically similar area, similar date, correct?
That's exactly right. Again, the Moorhaven tournament in Glades County, this time from Lake Okeechobee News, with a quote from me and a number of quotes from other locals who praised the tournament.
Petition, number 6, Exhibit 6, this is a petition that was filed in a dispute you had with another person, correct?
That's correct.
And what, in summarizing very quickly, what basically was it?
My ex-girlfriend and I had a bad breakup, and she tried to file an injunction against me in this court, in this very courthouse, that was denied by Judge Joshua Hawks.
And what's the significance of those claims against you in regards to your residency or domicile?
Well, it's interesting because she was asked to fill out my address, and she put my address, of course, in Florida. Nearly all of the events that are alleged are about incidents that happened in Florida. And at the very, very end of it, Joshua Hawks, the judge here, quote, "The court denies this petition and the case may be closed by the clerk." The final words prior to that is, he may be a little obsessive compulsive, Your Honor, I'm sorry, I am, but he did not initiate contact with the petitioner indirectly or directly with no legitimate purpose. Joshua Hawks goes on to say that he's trying to defend himself and protect his business, and this injunction, which was never entered on a temporary basis, was thrown out entirely, and I was vindicated.
Exhibit 7 appears to be just an article showing another event for Incubate Debate from
Yes.
a year ago, is that correct?
That's right. North Florida College is something we've been working on for the past 2.5 years. We held a tournament there for the national qualifier for Incubate. This is awesome because this is about a mile from my house, so I've never had a shorter commute. And these were all the great people, from local professors to talent professionals. Commissioner for Leon County, Rick Miner, was there. Professor Sam Staley, who will testify tomorrow, was there as well from Florida State University. And so it was a great, as is written here by the press release, North Florida College is honored to serve as a hub for civic engagement and looks forward to continuing its partnership with Incubate Debate in the years to come.
Exhibit 8 looks like just another version of what was spoken to prior in regards to the petition, so if that's true.
That's correct, yes.
We'll move right along to Exhibit
That's
9,
correct.
number 9. This is, looks like it starts with a cover letter, cover sheet on the second page, and it says, name of corporation, Macrovoyant Foundation Corporation. What is this document?
This is the filing document for what later became Incubate Debate. You remember that my firm, the company I started when I left Georgetown, was called Macrovoyant Partners LLC. I started the Macrovoyant Foundation to be the nonprofit entity on which I would build Incubate Debate. Filed that in 2019 using, of course, the address and here in Florida, and later renamed that organization to the Incubate Foundation. Really from the beginning, it was about Incubate.
And what is this plantation address that's associated with this document?
This is my home, where I was staying with my grandmother.
And she passed away roughly a year after this, or a couple of years? Okay.
Correct.
So this document says Macrovoyant Foundation. These are just basically your normal run-of-the-mill articles of incorporation, correct?
Correct, and I was, of course, putting the address where I was living, which was 721 Northwest 66th Avenue, Plantation, Florida, where my grandmother Helen had lived for 50 years. I was in the, as we said, the first unit on the right.
And going down a few pages, it looks like some of the employees or directors associated with the organization, officers. Pembroke Pines, it shows addresses of Plantation, Palm City, Niceville, Harrison, so 1 in Jersey, 5 in Florida.
Correct.
Are these folks that are involved in the organization?
Yeah, these were board members of the organization, correct.
And they're nearly all Floridians?
Correct, correct.
All right, so
Already.
Exhibit 10, is this a similar document? Or
Similar document, but in this case it was for the 2018 filing for the Macrovoyant Foundation.
In 2018, you had to file this, and this got filed with the Department of State, Florida, correct?
Correct.
And that's Fort Lauderdale, and address is Fort Lauderdale.
Yep.
James T. Fishback is involved with this. Is this you or?
That's me, James Thomas, yep.
That's me.
And then underneath it's J. T. Fishback.
That's my father.
You made your father the vice president.
Correct.
In 2018.
Correct.
All right, so moving down. Go to Exhibit 11. These are a series of emails, the first one being December 2020.
Yep.
What are these emails?
This is an email with an Incubate Debate student from December 16th, 2020, where I'm talking about whether they will be joining our free winter workshop. And so we go back and forth about the opportunity for this young lady who went to Hollywood Hills High School in Broward County.
And of course, this is a Florida organization, you're at the height of COVID, but you're spending your time communicating with students in Florida to try to get this organization growing, correct?
That's correct. And this young lady, Broward County Schools, Hollywood Hills, is going back and forth to make sure that she signed up for our winter workshop.
I noticed you have a 305 area code number. That's not Washington, D.C. area code, is it?
No.
Have you
That's
ever
Florida,
had a phone
baby.
number with an area code other than Miami or South Florida?
No.
This has always been, to this day, how old are you today?
I'm 31.
So for your 31 years, you've never had a phone number other than Miami, famously 305 area
This is
code.
actually the only phone number I've ever had.
Okay,
Wow.
Exhibit 12. Another email starting
Such
with
deep
your
roots.
Roll into this one.
This is again corresponding September 2020 while I'm trapped in D.C., corresponding with a judge from the Brookings Institute, George Ingram, to see if he could judge our Incubate Debate tournament, which at this time was virtual, but included students exclusively from Florida.
And did you use DC? I mean, based on this email and these communications, were you using DC as sort of like a sort of high-minded avenue to grow for organization. People looked up to DC. They were flattered by DC. They thought DC was cool, and obviously the center of American life, civic life.
Objection. Meeting.
I'll withdraw. So you talk about U.S. aid in here. What's the deal with that?
It was a debate about the U.S. aid organization, which provides foreign aid to foreign countries.
All right. Yes.
Well, I want to continue on that point, which is to say that this email, I included it. This is something that we put forward because it acknowledges the fact that in 2020, I was living in D.C. with my parents at the height of the pandemic. I couldn't get back to Florida. I couldn't live with my grandmother because she was in her 90s and she was immunocompromised. And so I included this email because it says, I live in D.C. now, which was absolutely true. I was living on my parents' couch in the midst of the worst pandemic in 100 years, corresponding with a gentleman who apparently knew someone in my family who sold life insurance, and so I was just telling him where I was at that particular moment in time, which was in Washington, D.C.
And of course, that was not a permanent. Or was it a permanent decision to move there, or was it a temporary thing?
It was not. It was forced upon me because when I came back from this foreign trip in late February, all of a sudden everything was shut down. I'll never forget my mom on a Friday morning saying, "Don't worry about this. Don't let the pandemic affect you." To Saturday morning, she was running into Costco. I've never seen a woman buy so much stuff at Costco in 15 minutes. My dad and I, we parked the car. We dropped her off up front. By the time we parked and walked in, she was walking out of Costco with so much toilet paper. And so I was in D.C. in 2020 out of pure necessity because of the lockdown conditions and because if I were to go back home to where I lived with my grandmother, I didn't want to threaten her health.
Without speculating, just based on your own understanding of the factual situation, do you believe your parents were welcoming you into their home that summer as a permanent resident or as a temporary guest?
As a temporary guest, and they made it pretty clear that it was a temporary guest. I love my parents, but we'd have our back and forth sometimes. I was sleeping on the couch. I was helping do dishes. They weren't charging me rent or anything like that, but I was stuck there because of the pandemic.
Moving to Exhibit 16, another email to Professor Staley. Who was that?
13.
13.
Professor Staley's a professor here at Florida State University. He and I got connected years ago. He's served on the board of advisors for Incubate Debate. In this email from November 2021, we're discussing his involvement at our recent Incubate Debate tournament with Florida students from all over the state.
Is he still involved in the organization?
He is. He's an informal advisor. We talk on and off.
What was he teaching at Florida State?
Economics.
Is he still involved with the university?
He is. He is a professor there. He runs the Voss Center, and he's actually the sponsor of Incubate Debate at Florida State University. We now have growing college chapters that are being led by former Incubate Debate students. The thinking is, if you foster debate in high school, come bring it to college campuses where we need conservatives and progressives to come together. I've long rejected this idea that if you think differently from someone else, that they're somehow the enemy. The enemy is not the person who has a different opinion. The enemy is a broken, corrupt politics that says that we can't disagree agreeably, and that's what I've been proud to do with Professor Staley at Florida State, and he's leading that charge now.
The next exhibit is titled Exhibit 14. It's from 2020.
Yes.
And it's showing contestants in the debate, and it looks to be authored by a teacher in Florida. Is that correct, or is this?
That's correct. 10 days after the 2020 election, this is an email between me and a teacher in
Okay. I guess I go back and forth on this for a while.
Presidency, would you have done that?
No.
And you, of course, did you actually know that you would be accused of that in the future?
No, because the only person I spoke to about it was...
No.
I did not, and that's been my testimony since the very beginning. I'm not sure why you're asking me about what an independent tax preparer did.
And 20.
Ooh,
It's
hold on.
dated-
Spicy cross? Hold on.
Well, I love the state, and we're going to start at.
Okay.
Back to question.
Thank you, everybody. Please take your seats. All right. Very well. Are we ready for cross?
We are. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Mr. Fishback, you have a YouTube channel, is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
And you did
Uh-oh.
a press conference the day after you were served this complaint, is that correct? In front of your childhood home?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to bring up that. Is that you?
That's me.
Okay. And I am at what house is this that we're looking at?
This is 14631 North Beckley Square, Davie, Florida, 33325.
So this is the house that
Wow,
you
he
lived
really
at
knows
from
it.
the time you were
He
age
definitely
1
lives there
until
and has lived there
2017,
forever.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm not going to play the full 20 minutes here. There's just a couple excerpts out of this, Your Honor. But for the record, this is on James Fishback's YouTube channel. And we're going to start at around minute 10:22. We're going to play about 30 seconds, and I'm going to jump to 11:30, and we're going to play a few seconds there, okay?
Orders that Fishback can't win, can't run. It's absolutely false, and we can't wait for a judge to call him out on it. And then on the voting point, I want to make a clarification. There is someone by the name of James Fishback registered to vote in D.C., not at my property there or my property here. He is not a registered Republican. He's what's called an NPA. And so I know that I think I'm special sometimes, but I'm not the only guy named James Fishback in the United States of America. So whoever that James Fishback is, who apparently requested an absentee ballot in 2024, I don't know why I would do that. I proudly voted here in Florida, where I maintain my voter registration. The truth is, you're going to find...
Okay, and now I'm going to jump to 11:25-ish. So,
Well, I love the state. I've lived here, and I'll die here, and I'm proud of that. No.
so Mr. Fishback, did you lie to the media saying that you're not a registered voter in 2020?
No.
You did not lie to the media?
No.
Okay. You have to your right the plaintiff's exhibits, I believe.
Correct.
I'd like you to go to Exhibit 2. You have Exhibit 2 in front of you?
Yep.
Okay, what is the address of the voter registration that you're looking at here?
Where would that be?
It'd be, you see your name, and to the left of it has a redacted portion, redacted block.
Why don't you just raise me? I can't really see as well.
Okay, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep. What about?
Can you please read for the record the address on this voter registration that's previously been identified as Exhibit 2?
4009 Davis Place, Northwest.
And whose address is that?
My father's.
Okay. And this is the voter registration that is an NPA, no party affiliation?
Yep.
Okay. And that is the address you lived at in 2020 with your parents because of COVID, is that correct?
I was staying there because of COVID in 2020, yes.
So this James Fishback voter registration is for the address that's associated with your parents, is that correct?
It appears to be true.
Okay. And that's not what you told the media in your press conference the day after you received this complaint, is that correct?
What is the inconsistency between those two comments?
You said at James Fishback that's not affiliated with any address you've had. So it appears to be an address that you actually stayed at for a year.
Well, so I wasn't actually referring to an address there, was I?
Well, we'll let the record speak for itself.
Well, but was I, yes or no?
Yes, you. It's my interpretation.
Why is the attorney answering questions? Wait, hold on. Are we doing a Wait, hold on. Are we doing a Fuck. What's the name of the movie with Jamie Foxx and the one guy? Does anybody know what scene I'm referencing? Where he's like, I didn't actually confess. I said I want to murder him, but that doesn't mean I did. And I said I dreamed of it and I played it over and over again in my head, but that doesn't mean I admitted to doing it. I actually tricked you. What did he say?
Complaint, is that correct?
What is the inconsistency between those two comments?
James Fishback voter registration is for the address.
James Fishback is, who apparently requested an absentee ballot on is absolutely false, and we can't wait for a judge to call him out on it.
YouTube channel, and we're going to start
Law-abiding
at
citizens we're
around
looking at, yeah.
minute 10:22. We're going to play about 30 seconds, and I'm going to jump to 11:30, and we're going to play a few seconds there, okay?
What did he say?
Orders that Fishback can't win, can't run is absolutely false, and we can't wait for a judge to call him out on it. And then on the voting point, I want to make a clarification. There is someone by the name of James Fishback registered to vote in D.C., not at my property there or my property here. He is not a registered Republican. He's what is called an NPA. And so I know that I think I'm special sometimes, but I'm not the only guy named James Fishback in the United States of America. So whoever that James Fishback is, who apparently requested an absentee ballot in 2024, I don't know why I would do that. I proudly voted here in Florida, where I maintain my voter registration. The truth is, you're going to find...
Okay, now I'm going to jump to 11:25-ish. So,
Well, I love the state. I've lived here, and I'll die here, and I'm proud of that. No.
so Mr. Fishback, did you lie to the media saying that you're not a registered voter in 2020?
No.
You did not lie to the media?
No.
Okay.
Just flat out like, wait, so what did he say?
I'm proud of that.
He said that there's some other James Fishback.
Well, I love the state. I've lived here, and I'll die here, and I'm proud of that. No.
Oh.
So Mr. Fishback, did you lie to the media saying that you're not a registered voter in 2020?
Were you a registered voter in D.C. or what did he say?
No.
So Mr. Fishback.
No.
So Mr. Fishback, did you lie to the media saying that you're not a registered voter in 2020?
No.
You did not lie to the media?
No.
I believe.
Correct. Okay.
Straight into the left. Okay, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Okay. Yep.
Exhibit 2.
4009 Davis Place, Northwest.
And whose address is that?
My father's.
Okay. And this is the voter registration that is an NPA, no party affiliation?
Yep.
Okay. And that is the address that you lived at in 2020 with your parents because of COVID, is that correct?
I was staying there because of COVID in 2020, yes.
So this James Fishback voter registration is for the address that's associated with your parents, is that correct?
It appears to be true.
Okay. And that's not what you told the media in your press conference the day after you received this complaint, is that correct?
What is the inconsistency between those two comments?
You said at James Fishback that's not affiliated with any address you've had. So it appears to be an address that you actually stayed at for a year.
Well, so I wasn't actually referring to an address there, was I?
Well, we'll let the record speak for itself.
Well, but was I, yes or no?
Yes, you. Is my interpretation?
Your interpretation. What does the facts say about that video? I was asked, is there someone else named James Fishback? And I said, yes, this is the first time I've seen the voter registration until it was entered into the evidence in this case.
Is that your signature on?
Did they do depositions for this, or is this like an expedited trial, bench trial, whatever, where they're just like some adjudication thing where they didn't do any depositions at all?
Yep.
Okay.
When was this broadcast? Was it yesterday? Yesterday, 21st.
We're going to be bouncing back and forth between a lot of exhibits here. You've talked about a lot of things, but I do have a couple questions. We saw a lot of your utility bills for the property in D.C., correct?
Yes.
Did we see any utility bills for 2021?
We could not access them, actually.
So that's a no.
We could not access them.
Yes or no? Did you present any evidence of utility bills for 2021?
Pepco would not produce them.
Yes or no?
Pepco would not produce them. So no, we did not produce them because Pepco did not give them to us.
Yes or no, did you produce any utility bills for 2021?
No, because Pepco didn't provide them.
Yes or no, did you produce any utility bills for 2022?
No, because Pepco did not provide them.
Yes or no, for 2023, did you produce any utility bills?
No, because Pepco did not provide them. They started in 2024. I'm happy, Your Honor, to log into my Pepco account right now to validate that, right here if you'd like to. Would you like that?
We're just establishing what you did and did not produce.
Would you like me to log into the Pepco account right now?
That's not the only way you could have produced the stuff.
We're an expedited hearing. How could I have otherwise gotten it?
Mr. Fishback, just answer his questions.
Why is the lawyer getting bullied so much?
And as you testified earlier, you did not produce, you have SunPass account from starting in 2019, correct?
Correct.
But you did not produce any records of the SunPass from 2019 through 2022, is that correct?
SunPass did not provide them when we requested them.
Okay. And you stated that your SunPass was billed to your credit card, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't produce any credit card bills from 2019 to 2022, is that correct?
That would have been tens of thousands of pages. No, I did not produce credit card bills.
I'm just making sure. You did not provide here any records of travel for 2019, 2020, 21, 2022, is that correct?
I was not asked to, so I did not provide it.
But you didn't provide any evidence of it, correct?
Of what exactly?
Travel, tickets showing when you were in the state or when you were in DC.
My default was to be in the state, so I could pull some tickets, but there'd be few and far between. I rarely travel, actually.
And I believe I saw in here in 2022, I'm gonna start off. In 2022, in the month of September, you purchased a property in Madison, correct?
Correct.
And then in the exhibits that you went through, you bought a Tesla, correct?
Correct.
And that you showed, I think it's exhibit 35, you showed the insurance on that Tesla, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that insurance document is dated in the fall of 2022, is that correct?
I'd have to see it again. What exhibit is that?
I believe it's 35, but we'll check. No, it's not 35, so. Exhibit 40 of your list.
Yep.
What is the date of this insurance?
October 12th, 2022.
Okay, and this is the only insurance document that you produced this December, or this October 12th date, correct?
Correct.
Okay, you didn't produce any in 2023, 2024, 2025, is that correct?
I have active insurance. Yes.
I understand that. I'm just saying that for the evidence in the court, this is the only insurance document that you showed is of this date of October 2022, correct?
That's correct.
And this is 1 month after you purchased a property in Florida, is that correct?
Correct.
And you testified earlier that once you purchased this property in Florida, you moved your stuff out of your grandmother's house and you moved it up to the Madison property, correct?
Yeah, in pretty short order. It didn't happen overnight. My dad helped me.
Yet the address on this insurance is still to your grandmother's house, even though you say you've already moved to the Madison.
It's 20 days difference.
Okay.
I didn't say that I moved to Madison. I said I bought it in September. I actually bought it in October. And so let's just establish the correct date I acquired the property in Madison. What exhibit is that?
I believe it's our exhibit. It's 19th. It's 19th, I think.
Okay.
The mortgage document is.
Okay.
Exhibit 18 and
All
Exhibit 19 are the two maps.
Okay, let's look at exhibit 19. Go to the upper right-hand corner on the first page. What is the date there?
You could put your.
Why is he asking him? I feel like the other lawyer's getting taken for a ride. What? I don't know. It's hard. Obviously, I don't have a lot of fucking experience. I listen to a ton of different depositions and shit just to prep for my own or whatever. I feel like it feels like the closest thing if you want to be like a fucking debate lawyer. You know, people are like, oh, you're good at debate. You should be a lawyer. There's like so much shit that goes into, especially litigating, beyond just like arguing with people. But I feel like the deposition process is like probably it feels like the most like, this is where the mind games and the how well can you maintain and not get rattled. Deposition, or I guess like actually doing your exams or cross exams in court. I feel like the attorney doing the cross exam here is getting kind of like, I don't know, led around by him a little bit. I don't know, like he's asking questions back, and then the lawyer's like responding, and he's like having a back and forth. And now James is like, let's pull out Exhibit 11. Like, look to the top of Exhibit 11. I don't know, maybe it's more standard for these types of adjudicated things, or maybe it's more standard in general. And I don't know, I've just seen different stuff. I don't know, but.
Exhibit 19 are the two maps.
Okay, let's look at exhibit 19. Go to the upper right-hand corner on the first page. What is the date there?
You're the one testifying, so why don't you go ahead and tell the court?
Yeah, October 18th, 2022. You're trying to nail me down for something you didn't even do your work on, trying to say September and October. I purchased the place on October 18th, 2022, and yes, on October 12th, 2022, it was still listed, my insurance at my grandmother's house, because they hadn't moved in yet.
Okay.
Jesus.
Well, it's only a problem because I caught it.
Okay.
You're a big DeSantis fan, correct?
I think Governor DeSantis has been an extraordinary governor.
Okay. And when we were going through your exhibits, there were multiple addresses that your nonprofit was located at, correct?
How many?
I believe it starts with a Spinnaker address, is that correct?
Where I was living, correct.
And then there's your grandmother's address, correct?
Where I was living, correct.
And then there's the Madison address, correct?
Where I was living, correct.
Okay. What's the Spinnaker address?
Where I was living after North Beckley Square with my parents from 2017 to 2019 on Griffin Road in the corner of Angler Avenue, just west of the Fort Lauderdale Airport, in a 2-bed, 2-bath townhome.
So you live at the Spinnaker address, what are the months again? I'm just trying to
He
make
thinks,
sure
he thinks he's in a movie. But I mean, I don't know. The other lawyer's getting kind of pissed. I don't know. Jesus.
I have a timeline here.
Roughly June of 2017 to June of 2019.
And so June of 2019 is when your parents moved to DC, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's your it's your statement today that as of June of 2019, that Spinnaker address was no longer associated with you, is that correct?
Correct. I mean, in the sense that there was some idle paperwork that would get refiled. I'd go in there and click re-verify, and it didn't have an impact one way or the other.
Does
But
Fishback have representation in this, or is he representing himself? No, he has a lawyer for this.
much like old credit card bills that are tied to old addresses, yes, I'm sure old addresses of mine are tied to old properties.
So are you aware that there were multiple filings with your organization for that Spinnaker address in 2020 and 2021?
With what organization?
The nonprofit.
What was the name of it?
We'll look it up in your exhibits. The foundation. We go ahead and turn to, it looks like Exhibit 54.
These are mine, correct?
Your Exhibit 54, yes.
Okay.
What is the file date of this document?
June 2020.
Okay, and it's filed with the Secretary of State, correct?
Correct.
And your testimony earlier is this is the time when you were in DC because of COVID, correct?
Correct.
Maybe after this, Shervin.
And what is the address of this for this file?
4920 Spinnaker Drive, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I was no longer living at the time. It appears that I erroneously filed this with an incorrect address.
Okay,
It's very easy on Sunbiz to just next.
and let's look at Exhibit 52.
Okay.
And when is this one filed?
2021.
And what address are you using?
4920 Spinnaker Drive, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
And again, you haven't lived at this address in over 2 years.
I haven't lived there since June of 2019. The address on file with Sunbiz has absolutely no relevance to the operation of the organization. Unlike an address for a parking fee or a SunPass or the monthly car insurance, this address here is simply clerical for the Secretary of State. And so, yeah.
It is clerical, but on Sunbiz, it's supposed to match the address of your business or your registered agent. I mean, that's... I don't know how big of a deal it is, but...
They do it as well. Many of this is like recent.
I was like, did Mooten just hop in? Oh, every LSF thread is like a fucking snarker battlefield. Yeah. I'm sympathetic with the comments that are like, this shit is so fucking lame or whatever. And I do agree. But I mean, like, all of this weird shit can stop if Hassan just fucks off. And when I say fuck off, I mean just like stop with the weird, like, sex obsession and the weird comments and the, like, I don't know. But he's not going to, so fuck it. Fuck it. Why not?
They weren't going to come and see me one way or the other.
If you could turn to my Exhibit 36. Or Plaintiff 36.
Yep.
Can you show the court what Exhibit 36 is?
This is, looks like a tax form.
Okay. And does it say what year this tax form is?
It appears to say 2020
And for what foundation is it listed?
for the McRavoyne Foundation.
Okay. Now, I'll go ahead and give you a second to look through this, but for the court's record, this is Exhibit 36 is the tax form for 2020, 21, and 2022. Can you please confirm that?
This is the, there's multiple of these?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Man, I'm so curious how much time they had to prep. Like, they must have had to have shared the exhibits with each other, so they must know what's going to be brought. I would imagine that has to be, right? But I'm guessing there were no depositions done beforehand, so they don't know necessarily which questions are going to be asked beforehand, so he doesn't know. I feel like trying to do a trial or to adjudicate something. I guess if it's like if you're adjudicating on a simple issue or something, maybe it's not as bad. But trying to do this stuff where you haven't, like, gotten to ask questions beforehand, you're just, like, shooting in the dark.
Okay. Yep.
You will confirm that Exhibit 36 is the 990 for Metro Buoyant Foundation for the year 2020?
Correct.
2021 and 2022?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with 2020. Looking at that form, can you tell us what address is being used on this form that's filed with the IRS for Microvoyant?
Sorry, who filed this form?
What's the name of the foundation?
No, sorry, that's the answer, but who actually filed the form itself?
Why don't you look to the last page of the form and tell me?
So which one's that?
It's going to be the page. I'm finding it right before the Schedule B. So it looks like about 10 pages in.
Okay, and that's, okay. Where's my signature?
Or were you what was your position with Microvoyant Foundation?
Who is Taylor McElveen and who signed this document?
I was going to ask you that.
Great, he's a tax preparer. I did not sign this document.
Okay.
So,
Who
you're trying to use it to impeach my credibility, but I didn't sign the document.
I understand. Who is he?
He's a tax preparer.
Who does he work for?
He works for the McElveen Foundation Corporation.
And what was your relationship with the Microvoyant Foundation
I
Corporation?
was the founder. I was one of many employees. I didn't necessarily look through personal paperwork like this.
I understand, but we're going to this was prepared by your accountant, is that correct?
No, it's not my accountant. It's the accountant of an organization that I am one of many employees to.
Okay.
If the CEO of Dell, there's an error on the tax returns, we don't try to throw the CEO of Dell off the ballot.
But is that, what address is being used?
What address did Taylor McElveen use? He incorrectly used an address in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
And what is the date that this form was prepared?
Uh-oh.
November 12th, 2021, Taylor McElveen in Highland CPA, 4131 Raleigh Street, Denver, Colorado, 80212.
Okay. And on October 15th, 2021, you did not live on the Spinnaker address.
No, and Taylor should have corrected his mistake.
Fair enough. Now, in Schedule B, which is the very next page of the 2020 Schedule of Contributors, if you turn to the second page of that form, can you please tell me whose name appears under number?
Like the lawyer knows the answer to the questions he's asking. He needs the witness to say the answers under oath. Well, if they haven't done a deposition yet, not necessarily. He might know how this guy will answer, how he'll respond if they haven't actually deposed him. So that's why I'm saying I don't know how you would do these like hearings like live, like we do it live without any knowledge of how the other guy's going to respond. You can have an idea of it, but I don't know.
Number A. The very second page of Schedule B, 2020 Schedule of Contributors.
James Fishback.
And what address is used?
It looks like Taylor McElveen used Davis Place Northwest,
In what city?
Washington.
Washington, D.C., correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Again, I didn't sign this form.
So now let's turn to the 990 for 2021.
Yep.
Okay? And again, this is for the foundation, correct?
Yes.
And what address is being used for the foundation?
Looks like Taylor McElveen, a resident of Denver, Colorado, is using an address in Washington, D.C., or in Fort Lauderdale.
He's using the Spinnaker address, correct?
Correct.
Again, in 2021, you had no relationship with the Spinnaker address, correct?
So I did not, and that's been my testimony since the very beginning. I'm not sure why you're asking me about what an independent tax preparer did at an organization that I'm one of a dozen members of.
Did anybody else in your organization live at Spinnaker or ever live at the Spinnaker address?
No, but the Spinnaker address was related to the organization at one time, which you conceded to earlier in 2017 and 2018 and 2019. This is the organization address. This is the founding document used for the charter of the McElveen Foundation Corporation, filed in June of 2019 with the Florida Department of State Sunbiz website. So you're making it sound like this address came from nowhere, but more than that, I didn't sign this paperwork.
Can you please turn to the second page of Schedule B for the 2021?
What page is that?
Lawyer didn't
Second
make it
page,
at that time.
Schedule B.
Sure, I see it.
And contributor number A, who is that?
James Fishback.
And what address is being used?
Looks like Taylor McElveen input a DC address.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and turn to the 2022 tax return. In 2022, the tax form we're looking at here is actually, the name of the foundation is Incubate Debate Inc. Do you see that?
That's correct.
Is there a difference between Incubate Debate and Microvoyant Foundation?
They're the same underlying entity, but we changed the name in 2022 to the Incubate Foundation.
Okay. And at this point in time, you're using the address in Madison, Florida, correct?
That Taylor is using the address in Madison, Florida, correct?
For Incubate Debate, correct?
Correct.
And just for the sake, when was this form prepared by the accountant?
By Taylor?
Yes.
I don't know. Is there a date here?
It should be. Yes, it is. Last page 13.
Okay. I don't see it here, but okay.
See page 13?
No, it's somewhere. I don't have it here.
May I approach this witness?
May.
This whole thing got
Okay, that is 2021.
here. Okay, got it. Yep. So to answer your question, it looks like this was signed by Taylor McElveen in May of 2023.
And what's the full date?
May 18th, 2023.
And in this particular form, filed with the IRS, it's using your Florida, the Madison address, correct?
Taylor Mack will then put that address down on this
What? Like
tax
me-
return for a
tax-
nonprofit that I'm a part of, correct?
Okay. And you turn a couple pages, we get to Schedule B, you get that?
Yep.
And the second page, Schedule B, there are actually 3 contributors this time, but I'm only concerned about the contributor number A. Can you please tell us who contributor the number 1 is?
James Fishback.
And what address is used?
Taylor Mack will then use 4009 Davis Place Northwest, Washington, D.C.
Okay, thank you. We are done with this exhibit 36.
Uh-oh.
Now, earlier you said that you were, I'll try not, I believe you said you were stuck in DC. Is that correct?
With what period of time?
2020.
Yeah, a lot of people are stuck in a lot of places. The worst pandemic in 100 years.
Do you know what day Ron DeSantis opened the state of Florida and Disney World had its first, was open again?
No.
July 15th, 2020. Are
Okay.
you aware of that?
No, I was not.
Okay, on July 15th, 2020, Ron DeSantis opened up the state of Florida, and yet you don't return until the month of December. Is that correct?
My grandmother was 95 years old, immunocompromised. She had glaucoma. She could barely walk. If you're saying that because I didn't go home to my grandmother because Epcot was open, that's disgraceful.
Hold on. Mr. Fishback. Your
Oh no, he's getting mega rattled. The judge is about to tell him to chill. I wonder what his lawyer is saying right now. I don't really want to. Again, everything I say is like, I don't. What the fuck do I know? If you feel like if you feel like the guy is asking things that are misleading or not fair, like I think you answer to the best of your ability as clearly as possible. I imagine you should let your lawyer on redirect clarify some of the record. So if he's asking you a question about, well, in the tax forms, blah, 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 like, I guess it might be tempting to be like, that's not me. I didn't prepare that. That was, right. You might be tempted to argue there, but one, you could fuck up and say a lot of dumb shit or rattle yourself and like fuck up in future testimony. But like, if you have a good lawyer, this is what you fucking pay your fucking lawyer for. On redirect, you should say, James Fishback, can we turn your attention to these tax forms? Have you ever seen these tax forms before? No, I have not. You ever sign any of these? You ever verify any of the filings? Was there a request for you to verify the address? Nope, I've never seen these before in my life. Like, okay, thank you. And then, I think, like, Destiny, wrong. Your lawyer doesn't give a fuck. They get paid either way. You got to debate opposing counsel. This is why you don't have an MSJ judgment yet, loser. True.
My grandmother was 95 years old, immunocompromised. She had glaucoma. She could barely.
He's trying to control the optics so hard, and he's good at it. I feel like that is going to come down to the judge a lot. Like even, I would say that, I don't know if there's a difference in jurisdictions or local. I've always heard horrible things about local judges. But even Brettler, when he was talking for my last hearing, I think, fuck, what were they arguing about? It had to do with the show cause for why Pixie fucking skipped her deposition. And Brettler was getting pretty superfluous with the adjectives. And I think at some point, Becerra was like, Brettler, I appreciate the candor or something, but like tone it back. And he was like, okay. So, and this isn't even a lawyer. This is just the witness who's like not even answering the question directly. So I don't know. Maybe some judges like it. Maybe some judges fucking hate it. But
Yet you don't return until the month of December. Is that correct?
My grandmother was 95 years old, immunocompromised. She had glaucoma. She could barely walk. If you're saying that because I didn't go home to my grandmother because Epcot was open, that's disgraceful.
Mr. Fishback, hold on. Mr. Fishback. Your attorney is going to get an opportunity.
oh, shut fuck. He's just going to explain. My bad. Okay, yeah, the judge is going to explain it. I would also be careful too because like you really just can't. Just in my opinion, okay, like I said, I consider myself to be a pretty smart guy, okay? I really do. I think I'm better on my feet than most people. Don't try to lie. I would never try to lie in any circumstance like this because if you try to lie or if you get emotional, you could start like unwinding threads that you didn't even realize you were unwinding. Like, I don't know, and I don't know how this is going to play out or whatever, but like when you start saying all this shit, well, Florida was open, Epcot was open, DeSantis opened it, you said you liked DeSantis, and now you're going off on all this, my grandma had glaucoma, I couldn't leave, blah, 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 right? Well, then maybe the next question is, and I don't know if they would do question on the fly. It was like, so you're telling me that you intended to stay in D.C. until your grandma was better? Would you have left her under any circumstance? Because the whole argument that it sounded like that he was making earlier was that his grandma had, some kind of health condition, so he wasn't able to leave or whatever bullshit. Or not that, but like it was related to COVID, and it was only the COVID lockdowns. It's the opposite of what I said. Only the COVID lockdowns were keeping him in place. But now, and I don't know if it's because he's emotional or he's trying to like play points for TV. Well, now it just sounded like he's saying, well, hold on. It sounds like you feel like you have some obligation to stay here until whatever, yeah. The grandma's in D.C., right? Yeah, it must be because they're talking about coming back to Florida. That's a completely different argument, and that's a much scarier argument because how long? Because what if the next question is, well, how long has your grandma been sick for like this? It's like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. year and a half. And now you're up there saying that you don't want to go back to Florida when Epcot is open? Because you're scared that she's sick? How are you not now domiciled, somewhere else? Wait, the grandma lives in Florida? Wait, if the grandma lives in Florida, why is he asking this question about him? What does that have to do with him coming back then?
Time.
2020.
Yeah, a lot of people were stuck in a lot of places. The worst pandemic in 100 years.
Is that correct?
Wait,
Now, earlier you said that you were, I'll try not, I believe you said you were stuck in DC. Is that correct?
stuck at DC.
What period of time?
2020.
Yeah, a lot of people were stuck in a lot of places. The worst pandemic in 100 years.
Do you know what day Ron DeSantis opened the state of Florida and Disney World was open again?
No.
July 15th, 2020.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I misunderstand. I actually completely misunderstood this, but the point actually I think still fits the same. Wait, he's saying he didn't go back to his grandma because she's old and sick, so he doesn't want to go back and make her sick, is what it sounds like. That's why he's saying he didn't go back. But then it still sounds like you could use the same argument. Like, so then are you going to stay indefinitely until she dies or gets better or whatever else? But okay.
You aware of that?
No, I was not.
Okay, on July 15th, 2020, Ron DeSantis opened up the state of Florida, and yet you don't return until the month of December. Is that correct?
My grandmother was 95 years old, immunocompromised. She had glaucoma. She could barely walk. If you're saying that because I didn't go home to my grandmother because Epcot was open, that's disgraceful.
Mr. Fishback, hold on. Mr. Fishback, your attorney is going to get an opportunity, when this attorney's done, to come up and ask you questions and give you a chance to clarify things. That's the time to do it, okay? Try to focus on the question and just give the answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, man.
So in December of 2020, you moved back in with your grandmother after staying in DC most of the year, correct?
Yes, because of the lockdown.
And you voted in DC in November of 2020, is that correct?
I went into the voting precinct, presented my Florida ID, said I can't get back to Florida in time. Can I vote here with my Florida ID? She said yes, signed me up apparently, and I voted for President Trump and I walked out.
Did you spend any time trying to research what it would take to get the Secretary of State to mail you a absentee ballot in 2020?
I did, and it was too late.
So the reason why you didn't vote absentee in Florida in 2020 is your testimony here today because you didn't think about it in time.
Correct. A lot was going through my head in 2020.
You could turn to your Exhibit 17.
Yep.
And this is an email that you already discussed with counsel, correct? Prior to our
You'd asked me about it, correct?
And this is an email dated November 3rd, 2020, is that correct?
The day of the 2020 election, correct?
Okay. When you read it for the record, I did not hear you, it sounded like you skipped the word virtual debate when you read it, so I'd like you to read the entire email.
James Fishback, james@incubatedebate.org, Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020 at 11:49 a.m. to Jessica Corlevan at browardschools.com. Dear Jessica, I really hope this finds you well. I organize Incubate Debate, a nonprofit initiative that hosts virtual high school debate tournaments and a virtual winter and summer debate institute for students across Florida. All of our programming is free for all students. At our tournament last month, we had 98 students participate from 17 high schools across the state. Your student, Stacey Mwangi, participated at the tournament and our debate institute this past summer. It would be great to speak with you about our initiative and opportunities to work together. When would work best for a quick phone call? James D. Fishback, james@incubatedebate.org, and then my phone number.
Would you agree that in September of 2020 that you had an online Incubate debate?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree with me that in November of 2020 you had an online Incubate debate?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that on around October 2nd of 2021 you had an Incubate debate online?
We had both in-person and online activities, correct?
But was the one on, October 2nd, 2021, was that online?
What day of the week was that?
I couldn't tell you.
So I just
Could I
wanted-
read a document that might help refresh your
Sure.
recollection? May I approach?
You may.
Yep. It says online Florida, US, correct. Incubate, as I've said, hosts both in-person and online programming.
Is this an exhibit that's not in already?
It's not, it was not in, I just to refresh his recollection.
Well,
Well, okay.
I don't get it if you're just refreshing his recollection.
Sorry.
It's all right?
So, you've had an opportunity to look at the document that's put in front of you?
Yep.
Okay, and after looking at this document, is it your testimony here today that on October 2nd, 2021, you hosted a Incubate debate
I guess you could probably enter something new into the record if you needed to, right?
online?
We hosted Incubate debates
Oh,
this
that's
year
my knowledge.
online.
Okay. On January 23rd, 2021, did you host a debate online?
In January 2025, we hosted a debate online along with January 2021. Along with January 26th.
January 23rd, 2021.
Yes, and in every January since then, we've hosted online activities.
Okay. But I'm asking about the specific date, so I want to make sure we have a clean record. On January 23rd, 2021, did you host an online debate as a part of Incubate Debate?
Yes.
Okay. On March 27th, 2021, did you host an online Incubate Debate?
Yes, and we've held several online Incubate debates this year as
Judge Ben says you can refresh recollection on anything, even if not in evidence. Okay.
well.
And on May 22nd and May 23rd of 2021, did Incubate Debate host the championships online?
We have held many tournaments online. That seems to be one of them as well. Oftentimes hard to get a student from Gadsden County or Jackson County down to Miami, so we'll host online scrimmages and tournaments and championships with students who might have geographic accessibility issues.
Now, earlier today, you were talking about Judge Gorsuch speaking to Incubate Debate.
Correct.
Would you, was that August 2nd, 2022?
That's correct. It was on a Zoom call with about 100 students.
Okay, so that was online Zoom call.
Correct.
Okay. And that August 2nd, 2022, that was a couple months before you purchased the property in Florida, correct?
Yes, I purchased my home in Madison in October of 2022. Actually, may I see that image, please? Just want to verify something.
Sorry, Your Honor, may I have?
You may.
So what you'll notice about this image, we have a lovely Supreme Court Justice, Your Honor, but James Fishback is right here. If you go on Zillow, that will corroborate the living room of my grandmother's house, 721 Northwest 66th Avenue. So thank you for providing this exculpatory evidence to the court. I had this Zoom call with Neil Gorsuch, with our students, from the home I was living in Plantation, Florida on August 2nd, 2022. I hadn't thought about that, so thank you.
Oh, it's exculpatory. He wins. If it's exculpatory, that means it's some type of evidence that basically proves that he couldn't have been doing whatever bad thing they accused him of doing. So it's auto win. If that's always the goal in like big court cases, if you can ever just like declare a thing as exculpatory, it's over, and then the other side has to give up.
The record reflect do not rebut that.
It's just he's being a goofball. The judge must not give a fuck. I don't know. I guess not. Good one, Chief. Jesus.
The record reflect do not rebut that.
Regarding your voter registration in D.C., have you made any attempt to unregister to vote in D.C.?
No. I don't stare at the ceiling wondering how I'm going to resolve clerical issues in other parts of my life.
Did you ever file with the county recorder in either Madison County, Broward County, or any county of Florida a manifestation of domicile in the state of Florida for the year 2020 or 2021?
What does that mean?
Well, Florida Code 22217 allows those who are out of the state for a period of time to file a manifestation and evidencing of domicile in Florida. I'm just checking, have you ever filed such a?
Is that required by law?
Is
Mr.
it?
Fishback. Mr. Fishback, please
Yeah.
answer the question.
I don't know what that is.
So the answer is no, you never did.
I never filed something that I've never heard of until about 20 seconds ago, no.
Fair. I'm just making sure. We looked, we didn't see that you filed one. I'm just making sure that you didn't file one. So
Was I required to?
that's a legal question. I'm not your attorney.
Okay. I just want, Your Honor, I'm just
I don't know why the attorney's answering him. He doesn't have to say shit. Just move on to the next thing. Fucking let him. He should be asking questions into the wind. The guy examining him doesn't have to fucking answer shit.
I'm sorry.
Fuck him.
It's, the rules here are, he asks the questions, you answer them. Again, Mr. Sabatini will be coming up and he'll give you a chance to explain various things.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm rather new to this.
Oh no. Yeah, the extra information makes him sound hella sus. It does. But also, I don't know if is this like an evidentiary thing? Well, no, because it's like multiple days long. This must be the trial. So I guess it's like a bench trial thing or some kind of bench adjudication thing, where the judge himself is going to be making the ruling at the end.
If you can go to Exhibit 22 of Plaintiff's Exhibit. last page of Exhibit 22. Can you pull that? Can you look at that?
Yep,
Is that your signature?
it is.
You heard Mark McLaughlin testify about this document earlier. Do you disagree with his statement of where this document came from?
What was his statement?
Well, I'm not here to testify.
I know, but I don't remember what his statement was.
Okay, so you didn't remember what he said earlier today.
I just know that Jay Collins paid him $50,000 to come here.
So right now you have nothing to say about the credibility of what Mark McLaughlin said about this document.
What did he say about it? I don't generally remember.
Okay. We'll move on.
There you go. Oh,
sure
he's
you're
so
not-
rattled. Yeah, he doesn't have to answer, or the other guy doesn't have to say shit unless he really wants his answer to it. Oh shit, Fishback's getting rattled. Okay, the other attorney, he's locked in now. He's not taking the bait anymore. He's locked in.
So if you could turn to what is in this document, it's document 82-3, page 2 of 15. That's at the top of the page. That's kind of what's called
Yep.
And what-
82-3. Okay.
page 2 of 15. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay. What does the page say? Not the header, but what's the title of this document we're about ready to look at?
It says Form 1045.
Okay, I think we're on different pages. You're on
82-3?
Can I approach the witness, make sure we get on the same page?
Yes, you may.
Okay, page 3. I said page 2 of 15. Can you please read what it says there? Yes.
You wrote relevant portion of 2018 income tax return.
Okay, I didn't write that, but that's what the record says.
Not the IRS. This is like a
Yes, I
header.
understand. I'm
This
just
is probably, yeah.
making sure that we're on the same page.
Okay.
Now let's turn to the page that says page 3 of 15, correct?
Yes.
What is the form, tax form that we are looking at?
It says Form 1045.
And what year are we looking at?
It says 2018.
Okay, and what is the name of
He's
for this
getting,
particular form?
he's
It
rattled.
says application for tentative refund.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
And what is the name on it?
James Fishback.
And what address is being used?
It's actually redacted.
What city and zip code?
The address is redacted, but it says the city is Washington, D.C.
Okay. Now let's turn to page 5 of 15.
Is he gonna yap?
What
Oh,
IRS
no,
form
he didn't say
are we
anything.
looking at?
It says 1040,
And what year are we looking at?
2019.
And what is the name of the person?
James Fishback.
What city and zip are we looking at?
It says Washington, D.C.
Okay. And let's turn the page to page 6 of 15.
It's okay. We got this. We got
What are we
this.
looking at here?
It says 2019 D40E sub.
For what government entity?
It says District of Columbia individual income tax declaration.
Okay. And for what taxpayer is this form for?
It says James Fishback.
And what city and zip code are we?
It says Washington, D.C. And there's no signature of mine on this at all.
I understand. Let's turn to page 8 of 15.
Okay.
Oh no.
What tax form are
Oh
we looking at?
no. Shit. Oh no.
1040,
For what year?
2020,
And what is the name of the taxpayer?
James Fishback,
What city and zip code are we?
Washington, D.C. Again, no signature on it.
Can we please turn to page 9 of 15?
Yes.
What form are we looking at?
2020 District of Columbia individual income tax declaration for electronic filing.
And for what taxpayer?
James Fishback,
And what city and zip?
Washington, D.C.
Okay, let's go
No
ahead.
signature on that as well.
Let's turn to page 11 of 15.
Yep.
What tax form are we looking at?
1040, 2021.
And what taxpayer?
James Fishback,
And what city and zip code?
Washington, D.C.
And zip code?
2007.
Okay.
No signature on that either.
Let's go to page 12 of 15.
Yep.
What tax form are we looking at?
District of Columbia individual income tax declaration for electronic filing.
And what taxpayer?
James Fishback,
And what city and zip?
Washington, D.C. 2007. Again, there's no signature on that.
And let's turn to page 14 of 15.
Okay.
What tax form are we
I was
looking
gonna mention something earlier. I don't know how his exhibits or whatever. I feel like exhibit prep is. I feel like it's really important. Like have your exhibits nice and neat. Like if you have some junior associate or some fucking clerk that like to do all the highlighters and shit in college or high school, this is the time to have everything nice and neat. So you're not fumbling through pages. It fucks your rhythm up, right? Like having these exhibits all like very neat, very clean, letting you machine gun fire these things off. I don't know how much it impacts the judge. It sounds impressive to me, I guess as a layman or whatever. Like, oh damn, like boom, 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 boom. So you're not like fiddling around with papers and trying to find shit all fucking day or whatever.
1040, 2022. Taxpayer James Fishback, City, Washington, State, D.C. Zip code 2007. There's no signature on that.
at? Let's go ahead and turn to page 15 of 15.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we looking at here?
2022 District of Columbia individual income tax declaration for electronic filing. Names James Fishback, City, Washington, State, D.C. Zip code 200.
He's speed running it. Taco Forecat, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Oh man, he's just speed running it. Oh man, he's mad. Now this is when the attorney's like, I didn't ask you that. I just wanted to check the date. Let's go to the next one. No, I'm just kidding.
07, again, no signature on that either.
Okay. And I just have a question here real quick. In your exhibits, did you produce any of your tax returns from 2019 to the present?
No, because you have them.
Okay.
Did Joan provide you a nice binder to flip through for your depot? No, it was they did it okay-ish, but it wasn't as good as it should have been. I love your Shervin. Who's playing with their pen? Is it his pen or is it somebody sitting at a desk?
Well, just, yeah, real quick, Your Honor, just first, I don't know what it is. In fact, I don't know what it is, so I have to take a second to review. It's not part of the exhibits.
It's not one of the exhibits, the rebuttal exhibit that I'm going to have admitted into the evidence. So,
Did you
It's a one-page
disclose this exhibit before today?
no, it's a rebuttal exhibit.
Well, I think I ordered all exhibits to be exchanged.
I have to check, Your Honor, because, well, I haven't read it. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But I would just say, based on what I noticed in the expert hearing, we worked pretty closely together over the last 2 weeks to get everything in line. Now I'm seeing the document for the first time, so.
Ooh, uh-oh.
Okay, he's going to object. I'm going to ask the questions. Mr. Fishback, earlier you testified that you started...
I'm sorry, just 1 second.
Oh,
I
wait.
haven't ruled yet.
Okay, sorry.
The objection is sustained. But you can ask him about it, and you can even use it to refresh his memory.
That's what I'm going to do. So.
All right.
Mr.
Okay, so this guy wants to enter something new into evidence, a new exhibit that neither side has seen yet, and his rationale is to rebut something, I guess, that Fishback testified to earlier. The defense is objecting to that on the grounds, I guess, that they didn't get to see it yet, and then the judge sustained the objection. Generally speaking, in a deposition, you object to preserve it on the record, but you still get to ask the question anyways, and you're expecting an answer, unless it's an attorney-client privilege objection. However, I don't know why, if the objection is sustained here, the guy is allowed to continue his questioning. I'm not entirely sure why. He said he could use it for recollection. Maybe he can't ask questions related to the document. I'm not sure, but
You can ask him about it, and you can even use it to refresh his memory.
That's what... Okay, sorry.
The objection is sustained. But you can ask him about it, and you can even use it to refresh his memory.
That's what I'm going to do. So.
All right.
you can ask him about it.
Mr.
Okay.
Fishback, when did you start working for Greenlight?
I believe early 2021.
Do you have an exact date?
No.
If I showed you your employment letter of agreement with Greenlight, would that help refresh your recollection?
Happy to take a look at anything.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I don't understand the point of this. So he's not allowed to enter it into evidence, but he can use it to ask him questions, and then if he doesn't know the answer to the question, then he can show him the document to refresh his recollection, which I feel like is more or less entering it in evidence. I don't know, whatever.
Have you had an opportunity to look at the document that I put in front of you? Does that refresh your recollection as to the date that you were given an offer to start working at Greenlight?
This says Dear Will.
Uh-oh.
But who's it addressed to?
It literally says Dear Will. My name is James.
I understand that, but who's it addressed to?
It says Dear Will.
Who is the letter addressed to?
It literally says Dear Will.
I understand that.
I'm not
but,
Will.
But look at the address
Okay,
above it.
Hold on, just hold on. This isn't in evidence. It's being used to refresh.
Yes.
So don't talk about the actual document. Just ask the question.
Okay.
And Mr. Fishback, if that helps you remember, then just answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to review this document?
Yes.
Does it refresh your recollection as to when you were given an offer letter by Greenlight?
Not really, because it says Dear Will.
Okay. Is this particular...
Like, the problem is I don't know if he's lying or not. If you're being honest, I think you can answer honestly. So, like, if it doesn't really refresh his recollection, if he looks at the document, I think he could just say, no, I don't remember, and this isn't helping me remember. That's my honest answer. That's the best answer I can give you based on what's in my brain. But it doesn't really help me. And that's it. The attorney can't, it's not like he can enter this document into evidence and then use it to impeach his character. He just gets to ask questions, and if Fishback doesn't remember and the document doesn't help, and the document doesn't help. I mean, and Fishback could lie, right? So, but I don't know. That'd be my guess, yeah.
Is this particular document that you're looking at addressed to you at an address in D.C.?
No, it says Dear Will.
You're talking about the salutation. I'm talking about the address.
Okay? It's addressed to Will, and my name is James Thomas Fishback. It's not refreshing.
Like, it feels like the judge just told him not to do this, and he's trying to ask him. It feels like the plaintiff is like, or the opposing counsel? What would you say? The plaintiff, the litigant, is trying to basically enter this document into the record by having Fishback read it, But Fishback can't just read the document down to enter it into the record, which is essentially what he's asking to do via his own testimony. He can only use this to see if it refreshes a recollection. There actually, I understand now why the judge did it like this. There is a distinction here. The attorney can't just bully him into answering every question to get the document of the record. He's cheating. I imagine the judge is about to shout at him, would be my guess.
About the address.
Okay, it's addressed to Will, and my name is James Thomas Fishback. It's not refreshing my memory.
Okay.
If I think he answered that it did not refresh his memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Move
means
on.
you have to.
Yeah.
Move on.
You can't pursue the questions on it then.
Yeah. Oof. I wonder what that line of questioning was for. And it was a rebuttal too, so it was a rebuttal to something he said earlier as well. So they must have felt like it was important, but
What day did you purchase a Tesla? About.
In December 2022.
Okay.
Got it on eBay.
Okay. And in October 2022, you moved, as you say, from your grandmother's house to the Madison property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
If you could turn to Exhibit 27 of your exhibits, this is the Tesla order.
Fishback's lawyer should surely have been objecting to every request to read off the document, right? I've gone through all the objections several times, and I don't remember them all, but I'm not sure. What would the objection even be? Objection. Fuck, I heard so many of these in my deposition. It would be objection, like refers to evidence not in, or refers to document not in evidence. Basically, I think would be. I don't know if that's a formal objection or what the objection is called. Yeah, and then it would be after that. Also, the nice thing about giving simple answers is if you say, like, does this refresh your recollection? And you say, no, it doesn't. Are you sure? Look at this. No, objection. Asked and answered. Move on. Go to the next. Oh, yeah, evidence not in I don't know. Is that a formal objection? Evidence not in record is one. Or, like, references to evidence not in record. Like, if you say, like, can you read this form? What is the address on here? Then it would be like, objection. This is not an exhibit that's... I don't know. What's the name of the objection? Where's the judge guy in Kick Chat? Improper foundation, is that the name of it? Objection to proper foundation, because it's for evidence not in the record. And then it would be asked and answered, and then go to the next, yeah.
No, 27.
Assumes facts not in evidence. Oh, that's another one I've heard a lot. Assumes facts not in evidence. Oh, yeah, every single read of that document, I think, would be assumes facts not in evidence. What is he reading from? This is a document to refresh your recollection. That's it. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know why his lawyer's not objecting to anything. It seems like his lawyer's AFK. But also, this might be a totally different set of standards, again, for this, whatever type of hearing or whatever this is. So, I love you, the real Dr. Q.
And you remember testifying as to this, that this charger was sent to your grandmother's house, correct?
Correct.
And that was to charge your Tesla?
Correct.
But you've already moved all your stuff to your house in Madison, correct?
I have not moved all of my stuff. I purchased the home in October through the
Just say no. Shut the fuck up and just say no. I haven't. What? Another thing too is when you talk a lot. Maybe I don't know. It's a feeling I don't know. When you talk a lot, I feel like you're kind of doing the guy's job for him. Like if the answer is no, then just say no. Why give all this extra info and help the other lawyer out? It's his job. He's the one who was supposed to prepare for the trial. He's a litigator. Make him do the steps to ask the questions. Don't volunteer all of it yourself. I don't know.
Fall all the way through to Easter was the process. I never hired a moving crew. Between my dad's 2004 Honda CR-V Silver and my new Tesla Model Y, I would make trips to and from to move things, and this is where I was at the time.
Okay. Let me control the counsel real quick.
You might-
Oh, somebody else. Whoever's mic is on is doing the fucking pen thing needs to stop. Jesus. I wonder if they can all hear that or not. Or if we're just getting a different like audio feed.
You'll pass witness.
Redirect.
Your earlier testimony is that you seasonally lived in D.C. and seasonally you did not, correct?
I visited my parents in the summer, yeah.
Is it more likely than not that at some point you probably did use the D.C. address for certain things if it was convenient?
I often would because between living even in Madison to living between my grandmother's place to traveling across the state for Incubate Debate, I was very rarely in the same spot. And so, yeah, I would use my dad and mom's house to receive mail, refund checks, credit card statements, et cetera, because they would be able to open it and send it to me.
Did you ever knowingly tell someone that you lived in D.C. because you were trying to get them to believe or to know that you were a so-called permanent, full-time D.C. resident?
No.
did you use the address because sometimes you would be there for a couple months or a month and it was more convenient?
Indeed, and in fact, my wife, as she's changing her name right now, just sent a lot of paperwork down to her parents' home, and so that's something that's very common is to use.
You also like, again, keep everything I say with a grain of salt. I say this so many times. Like, he is paying for a lawyer, I imagine. Probably paying a decent amount of money for it, I would imagine. Trust your lawyer. Let your lawyer ask the questions. You don't have to volunteer a ton of information. Let your lawyer ask the questions and just answer simple questions and assume that he knows what he needs to get done. It's not your job now to tell a story under direct examination. This should be the easy part. But
use a central location to send a lot of mail, especially as much as we're traveling.
The press conference that was played, when was that in regards to when you learned about the lawsuit? Was
that was the day after I learned that Jay Collins, a man from Montana, had hired a California lawyer, including an individual who represented Nikki Haley, to sue a fourth-generation Floridian to illegally and illegitimately remove me from the ballot. He's in third place. I'm in second.
Was the conference within roughly 24 hours when you learned about the lawsuit?
Yes.
At that time, and again, you're under oath, had you even had full knowledge of which elections in D.C. or Florida or any you actually voted in?
No, I had known that obviously in 2020 I went to cast my ballot there, but I hadn't really studied the complaint. You and I, and as my lawyer, don't want to get into that, but like you and I really barely spoke the day the complaint happened. I was traveling. I was on my 67.
you and I and my lawyer? Is this a different lawyer or another guy? Or
County tour. The day that I got sued, I was in the Keys, the last county, Monroe County, to complete our tour. And so quite fittingly, we were making
his own counsel reminding him that he's under oath? Well, if you should know the answer to the question, right? Like, I mean, like, I don't know how much these like flourishes help. I don't know how much these flourishes help with like a judge, but like if Brettler was asking me on a redirect, he was like, Stephen Bonnell, have you ever sent the Pixie video to any other person? I remind you, you are under oath. No, never. Oh, and that's it, right? It's like a flourish, I guess.
Making history by visiting all 67 counties. My opponent, Jay Collins, was making history by using taxpayer money and California lawyers to sue me. And so I hadn't spent much time looking at the details of the case.
So your first and instant reaction was this is probably incorrect voting records, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know how common this is, but like, yeah, I've this.
It was just regular.
This guy was talking way too much.
Regularly done. Okay, get on you. Answer not the question. 5 words, okay?
I will fucking kill you if you answer another question with more than 5 words, okay? Oh, shit. Shut the fuck up and answer the goddamn questions. I feel like his... Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, it's kind of scary having his lawyer wasn't objecting at all. And sometimes that can give you maybe like a little bit of an indication too that you should shut the fuck up. Like if the opposing counsel is asking you like a ton of bullshit questions over and over again, I feel like at some point if you hear your lawyer start objecting a lot, it should kind of clue you in. It's like, okay, hold on, this guy's trying to fuck me up, you know. But his lawyer, I think he had a single objection. It was just something new being entered into evidence. But again, maybe that's normal for these types of hearings or whatever. Like, I don't know.
I knew that I had been up there at the time of the 2020 election, but the question that was posed to me in the press conference was, did you have an active voter registration? And that's obviously no, as I understood it.
Were you surprised to learn that you actually, when you did vote that one day, didn't even choose a political party, that you did it so quickly you were not even choosing a political party?
Correct. I came with my Florida ID. Can I vote? I can't get back to my state. She handed me a tablet. I signed it. I went in there. I was out of there in 5-10 minutes.
So with that said, was there any other reason why you didn't even click or choose or toggle back and forth between one of the political parties when you voted? It doesn't even have a party, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't even have a party.
Was that because you were in a quick rush?
I was in a rush. I wanted to be able to vote on time, so I didn't not vote in the 2020 election.
So did it surprise you when you're being accused of having voted in an election you couldn't remember, and that it was from a non-party perspective when
it was all very confusing. I didn't even remember the non-party affiliated thing, and so when the member of the press asked me, there's a man by the name of James Fishback, and he's an NPA, and you vote, I had no idea what they were talking about. And then I got a chance to review some of the stuff, and then after our conversations, it was clear that this was something I was familiar with.
Also, you've seen documents that have you affiliated with one address in D.C., another one with a different address in D.C., and of course a bunch in Florida. Did you think that maybe the accusation was that they were saying your dad voted, your father voted, and not you? Was that your first impression?
That was my first impression as well. My dad and I have a very similar name. I'm James Thomas. He is J. Thomas Fishback. And so I know that he's voted in D.C. He is a D.C. resident. And I was confused by that as well.
How long have you self-identified as a Republican, even privately?
Since I was in high school.
So was there any other reason why, other than haste, based on your testimony, you didn't even choose a party when you went in and voted?
Just haste.
Did you make attempts to get early utility records?
I did.
And you were unsuccessful?
I was unsuccessful given the expedited hearing.
Tell us more about the Spinnaker address and its relevance in this case.
We lived at 14631 North Beckley Square, which is the video in front of that childhood home there. We lived there from 1996 to 2017. We moved out and moved to a townhouse, 2-bed, 2-bath, in Fort Lauderdale. That was the Spinnaker address. So we lived there for 2 years. In 2019, for the first time in my life, really, we kind of forked off. So my mom and dad moved up to DC. I moved in with my grandmother, who lost her husband, my grandfather, a year prior. And so that was kind of the original forking off, where they went up to DC and I stayed with my grandmother, moved in with her.
Previous addresses, did you ever utilize the option that the U.S. Postal Service has to have your mail forwarded even after you leave the address?
I don't know that I did myself. I know that my parents did, but I often use the poor man's mail forwarding service, which is to give it to your mom's address and then have her send you a UPS envelope every month.
So I want to very clarify your visits to DC. When was the first time you ever visited DC? Do you remember?
When I was a kid, maybe when I was 9 or 10 years old. I actually remember it because it was during the 2008 financial crisis, and my dad, my sister, and I were there alone, and my mom wasn't with us. And we were right outside the Department of the Treasury, and Hank Paulson, who was infamous for walking the streets of DC without a Secret Service detail, had walked by us. And my dad said, "Hey, Hank," and this is in the throes of the 2008 financial crisis. I remember having Five Guys for the first time, but that was really the first time I'd ever spent time in DC.
And you went there, when did you decide you wanted to go to Georgetown over some other elite university or good college?
I applied to Georgetown, got in, it was my dream school, and I got in senior year of high school, and then I went there and did 2 years there.
So you visited DC, came back, you went there for college, you came back, you lived up there for a period, came back, you bought an apartment, came back. Do you still go back and forth to DC to this day?
I do.
And where do you go when you go up there?
So right now, my sister's living in my apartment. Prior to that, a friend had been living there for 7 months, and so when I go there, I'll either stay at my parents' couch if it's a day or two, or I'll stay at a hotel.
All the times you've gone there, back and forth, ever, even once, did you ever make the decision that this was going to be your permanent abode?
No.
What's your favorite restaurant in Washington, D.C.? What's the best restaurant in Washington, D.C., and why is it Cafe Milano?
It probably is Cafe.
Where do you eat?
Freaking epic.
I almost always eat out because I really don't have stuff at home to cook with. So I like Cafe Milano. I like what's that place? The Italian restaurant, I think off of Georgetown.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's one of them.
What you talked about your cookware? What is the most amount of cookware you ever had in that DC apartment?
An air fryer. I've used the stove to make popcorn.
During this whole period we talked about, from when you're 18, we talked about prior, but from 18 to this day, have you ever, as you know, from the first time you voted in Florida through now, has your voter registration in Florida ever lapsed?
No.
If somebody told you tomorrow you have to unregister your vote in DC, would you even know how to do that?
No idea.
Have you ever met someone who's unregistered of voting yet?
No.
Before you filed to run for governor of the state of Florida, had any person ever told you or referred to you as a full-time DC resident?
No.
Can you, again, you're under oath, can you think of one person that thinks that you're actually a full-time resident before you filed for office, and obviously political things happen?
No.
Did you ever represent anyone in the incubate debate space for 7 years that you were a full-time DC resident?
No.
And again, revisiting your earlier testimony, you understand the position you're in. If you're lying, you're guilty of perjury, but the documents that you signed, if you meant them to be true, and you intentionally made those signatures on the two documents, the mortgage document and the voting document, you could be found guilty of perjury, correct?
I understand that.
And you understand that in your testimony, of course, you didn't mean to, it wasn't your idea, you didn't have knowledge of what you were signing up for, you didn't understand the legal significance of what you did, but you did in fact check the box.
That's correct.
But what would be would you be lying to the court right now if you told you that, if you said that you checked those boxes honestly, that was your intent to do, and you meant it as a truthful statement at the time?
I would be lying if I said that, and if I'm criminally prosecuted for telling the truth today, I will face that fate soon enough.
Oh my God,
Mr.
bro,
Sabatini,
chill.
may I ask you, when the parties refer to apartment, are they referring to the condo?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Chill, dude.
Are you, it looks like you're getting ready for recross.
Yeah, the last question he asked, he set up a question that I asked.
So you're wondering whether I would grant recross?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has to ask? Uh-oh.
Yes, very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got
A second ago, you
lunch.
talked about you just ended the question regarding criminal prosecution for signing the mortgage debt. You hope it doesn't happen, but that's a possibility, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the Lisa Cook case?
Yes.
And can you tell me what the Lisa Cook case was about?
So Lisa Cook is a member of the Board of Governors of the United States Federal Reserve. President Trump removed her from office in line with his Article 2 powers. My investment firm, Azoria, filed an amicus brief, which was accepted by the United States Supreme Court and cited by Justice Amy Coney Barrett, which referenced that President Trump, being the head of the executive branch of the United States government, has the right to remove any executive officer at any time without any explanation.
In fact, your amici brief basically said that mortgage fraud damages credibility, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that is something that you submitted, and it wasn't just your company, it was you individually also, correct?
Oh,
Correct. Submitted to
Jeez.
the United States Supreme Court
And you also did it to the circuit court, correct?
and to the district court.
And to the district court. So you submitted 3 different amici briefs to federal courts.
All saying that if you fuck a mortgage document up, it should severely undermine your credibility. Well, didn't we just look at you fucking up your register to vote documents and your tax forms and your, I don't know.
About the Lisa Cook case, in which you stated that mortgage fraud damages the credibility of Lisa Cook, and that is why, one of the reasons why President Trump could get rid of her. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. A minute ago, you were talking about voter registration. What years exactly were you in Georgetown going to school?
I went to Georgetown in 2013, 14, 15.
Okay.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Sabatini, you want any
that was it? Okay.
redirect?
I could, Your Honor. It'll just be two quick questions. You were 26 years old when you got the mortgage, roughly?
Correct.
And you were around 25, 26 when you voted?
Yep. Yep.
And is it your understanding that you didn't quite understand the documents, you weren't intentionally trying to commit fraud, you just signed a document?
That's right.
And these high-profile political situations with both Lisa Cook and I believe Attorney General Letitia James and other high figures on both sides of the political aisle who were being accused of
Yeah, they were way older. They were more responsible than you because they were older, and so they knew better, and that it's not the same. So it's not comparable, right? So while it might damage their credibility, it shouldn't damage your credibility.
mortgage fraud. Would you differentiate your case in any way based on your age?
I mean, Lisa Cook, and I know this intimately because I wrote the amicus brief. Lisa Cook filed for 2 different mortgages within the span of a month in 2 different homes, declared they were both her primary resident 1 year before becoming a board member of the United States Federal Reserve. That's a little bit different than buying an investment property in Washington, D.C. But to your point, Mr. Sabatini, I would much rather always tell the truth no matter what the consequences are.
No further questions, right?
Okay. Mr. Fishback, you may return to your seat.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Sabatini, you may call your next witness.
Just as a factual matter, my assumption, without knowing much about real estate, is that if you would have given me that fact pattern that somebody applied for 2 different, my guess is they were just like, they tried to apply for a loan on one house and then they tried to apply for a loan on another one because they didn't get the first one. That'd be my assumption, unless you have more documents to prove it. And I'm pretty sure, isn't that basically what ended up happening? So, I mean, the fact pattern they just laid out doesn't make it sound like there's absolutely fraud or whatever that occurred. It just sounds like somebody was applying for a mortgage and then looked at a different house, so had to apply for a second mortgage. But rather than was trying to buy 2 homes within a month of each other and lying on the second one about it being a primary residence to get a better interest rate. But, you know. Is this really too far?
We call our next witness, which is, he's in the hallway right now, that'll be Mr. Jay Fishback Sr., his father.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Somebody's getting booted. Or they bring up a different witness. Oh.
Ms. Davis, would you like a more comfortable chair? You are counsel for...
I heard you. I heard you talking. I would love a comfortable chair. I'll take
Yes,
one over
please.
here.
Okay, so before we sit down, if I can get you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, the Cookie Monster's here. Uh-oh.
Mr. Fishback, would you mind stating your full legal name?
J. Thomas Fishback.
And how do you know
Oh,
the
his
defendant in
dad.
this case, James Fishback?
That's my son. I've known him since before he was born.
And you know what this case is about, correct?
Yes, sir.
And obviously you haven't watched any of the testimony at all in this case, correct?
Well, I did watch about the first minute when and it was talking about he was in middle school and high school and he was in debate, and then I walked away because I think I wasn't supposed to. But so I did hear about the first minute.
About
And-
60 seconds, correct?
Correct.
So we'll just keep it nice and short and simple and go through a chronological pattern here. For the first 10 or 15 years of his life, where did he live based on your factual experience observation?
Well, I guess I'll start to the very beginning. I got married in 1993 to his mom. We lived in
Oh, boy.
when my wife was pregnant. We lived at
He said keep it simple.
1507 Argyle Drive in Fort Lauderdale. We moved from there to Davie before he was born. She was pretty big. She might have
Pregnant.
She might have been about 8 months pregnant. We moved to 6700 Nova Drive in Davie, and then we lived there for about 2 years. And then he was less than 2 years.
Oh,
maybe
man,
closer
this
to a
dad
year.
is so excited.
Then we moved more
He
or less
gets
to
to
his
answer
childhood home, which was
and
146.
yap on the most irrelevant fucking shit.
Did he ever move out of the state of Florida permanently
Let me tell
before
you.
he attended Georgetown?
No,
When he attended Georgetown, did he ever tell you that he was moving there permanently for the rest of his life?
no.
Where did he move after Georgetown?
He in Georgetown.
I meant, where did he go after Georgetown? Did he come back to Florida?
Oh, he came back to Florida. Yeah, correct.
And so he's back in Florida. Has he ever permanently resided in Washington, D.C.?
No,
Has he ever told you that he ever had the goal of permanently living in Washington, D.C.?
no.
Were you with him when he got the mortgage for the house when he was in his mid-20s?
Your Honor, these are leading questions. I'm going to object.
If you ever, the question is, was he with him when he got the mortgage?
Yes. It's been
Overruled.
a whole series of...
Overruled.
Damn.
Did you ever speak to your son about obtaining a mortgage?
Don't really recall.
When-
I mean, I know he got a real estate agent, I guess, but no, I don't remember me talking to him about getting a mortgage.
How is it a leading question? I mean, you're trying to establish some factual record about the documents. And so if I ask the question, has your son ever applied for a mortgage before? And you say, yes. Where did he apply for a mortgage? In D.C. What year do you think it was? It was this year. Were you with him when he signed the documents? Somebody might consider this to be like a proper, I don't know if you would call it foundation, but like you have to prepare your question down the line. However, if the lawyer were to ask the question from the very beginning and without establishing any of that question, if the lawyer would say, were you with your son? Like this would be a really obvious one. Were you with your son when he signed the mortgage documents that said that he was a permanent resident of Florida and that he would never break a law and he would be a bad guy at all? You say, okay, hold on, leading question. Just you can't give the answer to your own witness. You're allowed to lead on cross, but your own lawyer is not allowed to give you major leading questions. You're supposed to build a proper foundation to the question you're asking. Now, what counts as leading or not? Like, could he just ask the question? I mean, probably it's not. This is not like a hardcore fucking rape criminal case or like a multi-trillion-dollar civil litigation suit or whatever. So I imagine for some cases the judge will have more leeway. This is like I don't even know what this is, evidentiary, whatever the fuck this is. So the judge might not give us much of a fuck, but.
Were you with him when he was applying for any sort of loan or anything like that online?
No.
Okay. Do you recall reading through any of his documents at the time?
No.
When he started spending time in D.C., that was before he purchased an apartment, or was it after?
So his childhood home, I've got to say this to get my chronology right. His childhood home was 14631 North Beckley Square. After that, we sold that home. We moved to Fort Lauderdale, 4920 Spinnaker Drive, and that was in 2017, I believe. We moved from, all of this is Broward County. We moved to 4920 Spinnaker Drive, and then from there, I moved with my wife up to D.C. She has two childhood friends that live in that area up there, and so we moved out of Florida, my wife and I, to Washington, D.C. in.
Okay, if you want to up your joke-telling ability or like your social skills or whatever the fuck, just a random tip. I don't even know how you train this, but learn the relevant details for anything that you're saying, because some people just pad so much. And it's like, please, fucking God, everybody wants you to get to the fucking point. Holy shit.
2019, right before the scamdemic.
What was your relationship between your son and your mother? What was
his grandma. Oh, they were very close.
So did he ever live with his grandmother?
Yes, he did.
When was the time period in which he started?
That was when we moved out of 4920 Spinnaker Drive. I moved all his stuff from there, and I believe that was in the summer of 2019. I moved his bedroom there to a bedroom at my mom's house in Plantation.
So his stuff went from the house you were getting rid of to your mother's house, his grandmother's house down the road.
Correct.
And he would just visit between D.C. and there. Is that your testimony, or what was his travel pattern like after that?
Oh, after we moved from there, his travel pattern was he's always spent most of his time in Florida. For a couple years there, I think the D.C. was more of an office for him. He had a computer set up in there and stuff like that. And when he came into town, he stayed there when he came into town.
Did you ever observe whether his D.C. property was furnished or not?
Yeah, there was some furniture.
Narcvids, I don't even know how you would even begin to address that, if it would be really risky, depending on the judge, if you can even have, like, a political opinion would be relevant. But, like, yeah, if you thought it was a scamdemic, if none of you guys thought it was real, then why did you feel the need to stay away from your grandma? I don't know if you would be allowed. I don't even know how that would work. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
You're in there, yeah.
Was it furnished the way you would furnish a full-time residence, or not?
No.
Okay. And after the COVID pandemic, did he spend more or less time in D.C.?
I would say the maximum amount of time he spent in D.C. was probably, I think the most time he ever spent there maybe would have been somewhere around a total of about 3 months out of a year. And he would, normally he would.
I feel like they coached that, but it could be the truth also. I said earlier when we were listening, James Fishback was very smart. He was like very keen on the whole like, oh, I was in Florida for like what was it, like winter, spring, fall, or whatever, and I was only in DC for the summer. I was like, oh, okay, only a quarter of the year, nowhere near that half or whatever that you would need to, I guess, to change your domicile or whatever. And then he just said 3 out of 12 months for sure, 1/4, nowhere near half, Your Honor. But I mean, maybe it's true though. I mean, I don't know.
Would not stay there for more than a week at a time.
Have you been to his Madison home?
Yes.
Okay. Did he bring the stuff he had from Plantation at your mother's home?
No, he didn't bring it. I brought his bedroom, his bed, and his tables, and his books and stuff. I moved that from 4920 Spinnaker to my mom's house, and he had his own bedroom there. And then when he got the house in Madison, I moved it up there for him.
So his permanent furniture and belongings never actually went to D.C. They went
Correct.
from Plantation to Madison. That's your testimony?
Correct.
Just one moment for my client. In terms of politics, local politics in Washington, D.C. versus Florida politics, have you ever heard your son speak in a detailed way about D.C. politics at all? Or
Never.
What about Florida politics?
All the time.
Is that true even in the years around COVID?
Yes.
And then Incubate Debate, obviously you're familiar with the organization Incubate Debate, are you or are you not?
Oh, yeah. I drove the kids all over Florida in a bus and coached a lot of the tournaments. I spent a lot of time there.
And to this day, are you still somewhat involved with Incubate Debate?
It's kind of been weaning off. The last time I was judged one of the tournaments, I think it was like about 6 months ago, so not as involved as I was, but I would stay still. Yeah, I mean, I'd still be available for judging.
Based on your own factual observations, knowledge, and memory, roughly how much time, week to week or month to month, whatever you'd like to phrase it, how much time has your son put into that Florida organization?
Oh, that was his blood, sweat, and tears. He started out. It was essentially a full-time job, I would say.
Do you ever recall him being more occupied or employed with some organization or institution that took his energies out of the state more than Incubate Debate or something in the state of Florida? Has he ever been more pulled away from the state of Florida in his work life?
Well, time-wise, I would say it was the Incubate Debate was the majority of his time and effort, even when he was employed.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Very good. Cross.
We have nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Sabatini, may this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, excuse me, plaintiff?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. You may be excused. Thank you. And Mr. Sabatini, call your next witness.
Our next witness is Alex Mugia. We're going to record right now. And Your Honor, for this witness, he is now permitted to stay in the courtroom if he wants.
Does anyone else scam Demi? LeMayo?
Okay, sir, come on up here. I'm going to have you sit right here, and right before you sit down, if you'll stand and raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm? Testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please state your full legal name.
Alexander Joseph McGee.
And how do you know Mr. Fishback?
Well, he's been like a mentor and a friend for roughly a decade.
How did you meet him?
I met him when I was in high school. He was my debate coach.
Where'd you get high school?
Center for National Education, a Cambridge associate school based in Homestead, Florida.
Homestead.
Yes.
And what year was that you met him?
Probably 2018, 2019.
And you said he was your debate coach, is that what you testified to?
Correct, yes.
So did you end up joining his organization, debate organization?
Yes, this was like pre-Incubate Debate formally being an organization. It was originally kind of a summer camp at the University of Miami.
And that was in 2018?
Yes.
So in the last 8 years, 2018 to 2026, how closely have you maintained a relationship or communications with him?
Well, I feel like we probably speak once a day. When I was at the University of Florida, I invited him out to speak to our various college clubs at the business school. He gave me a lot of advice on career. When I was working at JP Morgan, he gave me career advice. So I was working with him pretty much, I feel like, every day.
Where do you work today?
I currently run my own business advisory firm based in Miami, Galvez Strategies.
I'm not great at math, but I try to do the numbers in my head real quick. If you talk to him almost every day for that period of time, is it like 2,000 times, right? 2,000 times.
I suppose so, yes.
At least.
Yeah.
Okay, so phone call, text, various means? Or?
Predominantly, I guess, text. Phone calls maybe once every other day, maybe.
And you know what this case is
Jesus.
about, obviously, correct?
Yes.
You're under oath. What have you ever had the belief? Have you ever believed? Have you ever known it to be a fact that Mr. Fishback was a full-time DC resident?
No, I always assumed he was a Florida resident and that he is one.
What was your understanding of his relationship to DC based on what you observed and what you know?
I know he spent his summers there, and I know he would go for different business meetings, but he would often come back either to Miami or now in Madison.
Having spoken to him 2,000 times, had he ever told you that he was going to be permanently staying in Washington, D.C.?
He's never told me that.
Has he ever said or done anything, any actions that you observed that would lead you to believe that he wanted to permanently reside in Washington, D.C.?
No.
How did the COVID pandemic, how did that affect his behavior and patterns in terms of travel, based on your memory and knowledge?
I remember he stayed a little bit longer than he normally would in DC. I remember a lot of the Incubate programs went virtual. Obviously, I had to adapt with kind of the times, right, and continue to provide those services to our students. So I do remember him staying in DC a little longer than he normally would. But as soon as kind of COVID, that whole hysteria started calming down, he came back to Florida and stayed here more predominantly.
Aww.
Did you learn about his relationship with his grandmother?
Yes, I know they were quite close.
Do you have the opportunity to ever speak to her or see her, or was she?
I don't believe I had the opportunity to meet her. I just heard of their relationship and how close they were and how devastated he was when she passed.
Do you recall him actually residing at her home for a period of time?
Yes, I do recall that.
What is the basis of your belief that he resided there at a time? Was it phone calls? Would you say did he report to you that he lived there? How did you gain that belief?
He mentioned it kind of in conversations that he was taking care of his grandmother, and kind of seeing her on a daily basis, while also just doing his Incubate stuff as well.
So he would be in Florida, and he would tell you that over the phone. That's your testimony?
Yeah, he had mentioned that on phone calls.
How many tournaments or work events related to Incubate Debate did you participate in where he was present?
Roughly, maybe I'd been to 20 or 30 tournaments over the course of
I wonder if I saw this
4
guy.
years.
So is that roughly 2 or 3 a year?
I would say so, yeah.
And additionally, you had online events too, correct?
Yes.
Based just on your memory and understanding, what was the breakdown, the sort of share of the pie? Is it half and half live, half online?
Yeah, I think maybe half online if you were to look at the full spectrum. Obviously, 2020, 2021, a lot more virtual. But as time progressed, things became more and more in person and kind of physical tournaments. So, yeah.
And is it true on the front end, was there more physical in-person tournaments before COVID?
Yes, that is also very true. It was exclusively kind of in person from my memory.
And has anyone ever given you an incentive or told you you had to be here, you had to testify this, we'll do this for you? Any kind of perk for this testimony you're giving here today?
No.
What expense did it cost you to come all the way up here and testify?
It costed about maybe a $200 Uber from where I was residing in Gainesville.
And you're here because you know, is it because you know that he is a resident, you're trying to be helpful?
Meeting.
Assisting.
Just one moment to confirm my client, I almost finished this way.
Jesus Christ. Were you given anything to testify? Well, the plaintiff is actually providing all of my legal fees, and Joan is actually retaining me and every single other witness in this case, by the way. That's just so crazy. Dude, if we actually go to trial, I just can't imagine how fucking insane. That just seems so crazy to me. Hello, welcome. Here's the witness list for the prosecution. Yes, Joan is representing every single witness, by the way. That's not unusual though. That's just how they decided to do it. It just happened to be that way, but my God.
Where did you go to school?
Center for International Education.
Did you go to college?
I did. I went to the University of Florida.
When did you graduate?
2024.
What was your major?
Finance.
No further questions.
Okay, cross.
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Sabatini, may this witness be released?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Plaintiff? Okay, thank you, sir. That may be excused. And Mr. Sabatini, may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the court be amenable to a quick 10-minute break. Real quick, we're actually almost done with our witness list too.
Yes, that would be fine. We will be in recess until 4 p.m. In essence, a closing argument. Okay, well then, understanding that the proposed findings of fact and conclusions of law that all three parties will be submitting is, in essence, a closing argument. I do want to give both of you a chance for a short closing argument. And of course, the plaintiff has a burden, so I'll let the plaintiff begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it, and I'm glad we can get this done in one day. Thank you for your time, Your Honor, making time on an expedited basis. I appreciate it. This case presents a narrow constitutional question. It's eligibility, not just qualifications like filing paperwork for the Secretary of State. This is in the Constitution. I think the court needs to take special care with that. The Constitution says 7 years. It doesn't say 5 years or 4 years or 3 years. States across the country, and we'll elaborate on this in our post-trial documents, a lot of them have this, and they have different time periods, and they enforce these.
including one of the cases that I cited to Your Honor in our pretrial briefings, where actually a sitting governor, when they discovered had actually voted in a different state, had to be removed because he did not meet the durational residency requirement in that state's constitution. This is something the states have done to protect their state, to have to make sure that there are strict residency that is durational. It's not just a certain amount of period of time over 10 years. It is 7 years of continuous duration. So that needs to be taken into consideration. And then when you look into the case law, including here in Florida, but also in other states, which is persuasive, what these courts are looking at, what's persuasive, and what the court should put as the best evidence, is what even the courts in Florida use, is the overt acts of the individual whose residency is being challenged. Those overt acts of show intent contemporaneously as to what your mind was right then. These documents that you signed. What we heard today is we heard finally an admission, apparently, that he voted in Washington, D.C. You have to be a resident to vote in Washington, D.C. He registered, obviously, to vote in Washington, D.C. He signed in a mortgage application in Washington, D.C., including multiple pages, which included to have a notary sign on it, and said that anything you're staying in here, you can be subject to penalties. Very serious documents. We also have multiple years of individual tax returns that he filed. He says it's his accountant's fault. What we're hearing today is we're hearing a story that is self-serving after the fact. It's something that the court can take into consideration, but all the case law shows that the overt acts that are contemporaneous are the important acts for the court to look at. And what we heard today on the stand was a story of blaming someone else for the tax returns. He's found tax returns as a D.C. resident for multiple years. That's not something that you just ignore. And I don't think that that's very credible in many respects. I think the court should take that all into consideration, but we look forward to presenting the case law and emphasizing the timeline here. Also, a lot of what you heard, Your Honor, was, and we'll show you in the post-trial briefings, was after that point in time when Mr. Fishback signed on his new house in Madison that I'm changing my principal residence from Washington, D.C. to Madison, Florida. After that, we don't dispute. That's 2022. That's still within the 7-year window before that. But if you look at the actual evidence, and we'll present it to you in the findings, facts, and conclusions of law, it is very thin of any overt acts within the time period between approximately 2019, 2020, especially into 2021, before he purchased the home in Madison. Most of what they submitted was all after that, so we spent a lot of time on them, and I get that they have the right to present that. But what Your Honor will see when we look at the whole record that was presented today is the overt acts, the declarations, notarized, official documents here, all point to a residency in Washington, D.C. for a period of time earlier on the window, but still within that 7-year window that the Constitution requires him to be a resident of Florida, whereas these overt acts all show that at that time he had stated he was a resident of the District of Columbia. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sabatini.
Yes, Your Honor. Stand while I brief. Your Honor, despite the legal arguments made by opposing counsel, Florida law has been always extremely clear. There is no singular act any candidate or person can do, no singular act that in and of itself creates domicile. Every single act must be considered in the totality of its circumstances, Your Honor. Every single fact, all testimony, all
Brutal
acts.
misspeak.
Voting doesn't create domicile. Buying a home doesn't create domicile. Sworn statement doesn't create domicile. I'll give you the perfect example. If I did a sworn statement right now that I live in New Jersey, it would be a false statement. It would, although it could be very compelling to some, and some would look at that and say, well, can't believe you would sign your name to that. It's a sworn document. There are legal repercussions. It doesn't make it true at all, actually. And there's not a single act that any candidate or person can do to create a domicile. Domicile must be considered in the totality of all of the evidence presented in a case. And Your Honor, the reason why the complaint should be dismissed primarily in this case is because the voluminous, and of course this will be detailed in our closing brief, but the voluminous testimony and documentary evidence that is unrefuted in this case. And it's unrefuted for two reasons. One, it can't be refuted because it's true. It's just nothing that has a counterpoint to it. The fact that he was living in Florida, spending all his time in Florida, taking care of his grandmother, growing this 7-year nonprofit organization, maintaining contacts with these bright young people all throughout the state as they're coming up, going through college. And you heard one of them today, under the penalty of perjury, swearing to this court, again, graduating the University of Florida with a finance degree, that never once, out of the 2,000 conversations he ever had with him, did he identify, or was he led to believe that Mr. Fishback was a full-time resident of D.C. In fact, we've heard, again, unrefuted testimony to the complete opposite, that he was a seasonal guy. And I thought one of the most compelling pieces of testimony for the trial, very succinctly put by the man who knows the most, is...
We didn't listen, I guess, to all of the first part of this. But, I mean, I feel like Fishback and his lawyers, for all of Fishback's theatrics, I feel like they made a fairly compelling argument. I wonder how normal it was. I assumed that the prosecution or the plaintiff was going to call other witnesses, or maybe they called theirs first. Did we miss them? I don't know. It seems weird to let all of the other testimony just go completely unrefuted. If his statement of law is correct, that this is a totality of fact analysis, and like the fact that he voted and the vote might have been a fuck up and he wasn't allowed to, but he didn't realize it. When you have like all these other, they had 2 other people testifying, and then all of James's testimony for everything. If you just let all of that stand, I mean, I don't know. Does that not win him this case pretty easily? I would think.
Father, Mr. J. Fishback, that he treated the apartment in D.C. like an office. It was literally like an office. And Your Honor, historically, when you signed a residential mortgage, it was a living quarters. It was a place that you resided most of the time. And guess what? The whole world changed in March of 2020. And you and many people in the world today are signing residential mortgages for properties that are primarily used as a virtual office. And of course, that's what Mr. Fishback did. He got this office, He didn't furnish it. Again, unrefuted testimony, never furnished it. He had a bed in there to occasionally sleep. And he would network in D.C. as he was going to New York and back to Florida and doing the things he was doing over and over again. And continuing this pattern of going back to D.C. He went out for college, he went out for visits, he went out to live with his parents for a period of time to get away from his grandmother who he didn't want to harm during COVID. Going up again to get this real estate investment property. And then, of course, still to this day, literally still going up to D.C. for long periods of time. Never once did we see any evidence that Mr. Fishback made a bona fide, good faith decision to leave the state of Florida. He never once wanted to permanently leave. In fact, he always had his heart in Florida. His number one, most time-intensive endeavor during all these 7 years was growing this nonprofit in 33 or 34 out of Florida's 67 counties, which is quite the enterprise, with at least 3 major events a year and a host of employees. So Mr. Fishback was never wedded to D.C. It was simply a networking opportunity that panned out pretty well, probably had some good experiences there, and now he's got a great low-interest investment property, but never once was it where his heart was, his mind, and most importantly, where he spent his time. We didn't hear any testimony. In fact, again, quite the opposite, that he actually worked, that he never actually worked physically in D.C. He had a remote office in D.C. doing virtual work in other places, partly back in Florida. But never once did he actually go up there to clock in, clock out. He was never necessarily wedded to that place. It was just an opportunity and a time to spend time with family. So again, going back to the case all the way back to 1857, one of the first residency cases in Florida, it's the burden of the plaintiff to prove a pretty serious subjective intent. I think the court will find, if it hasn't already with our opening briefs, that most of the residency cases are courts not striking people from the ballot, not striking somebody for saying that they don't live there. In fact, Perez versus Marti, one of the more significant recent ones, the individual was struck in that case, but I think it's very instructive to explain why. It was a candidate, it was a person claiming he lived in a house that he uncontested, it was an uncontested fact in the case that he had never lived in before, had no ties to, never spent any time to, and it was the second house he named in a 10-day period for where he lived. So he obviously said he lived there, that he claimed he lived somewhere else. So the court was right to strike that candidate because there was no overt act, there was no evidence, and it was a very pitiful explanation of a subjective intent to be wedded to the place. It was obviously not an opportunistic thing in order to make the ballot running for a school board race in Miami County. Most of the other cases, especially the most similar case, Bloomfield, show the court going in the opposite direction. If somebody has a bona fide subjective intent to live in a place and they're claiming it in their heart and in their mind, that's it. That's it. And again, Smith versus Kroon, the original 1857 residency case goes back to the law dictionaries. I think Black's Law Dictionary, which goes even further back to the Roman ages and the Roman law, the Roman canonical law. And in the Roman law, the argument was from the beginning, residency exists where the person's true home is. And it actually describes the physical things that you would have in that place. And again, unrefuted testimony from Mr. Fishback in this case, his own father testified that when he bought that place in D.C., he never brought his belongings to D.C. He brought them later to the city of Madison when he made a permanent decision to buy a house there. Not the temporary work office / kind of residential area in D.C. They went from his childhood home to his grandmother's home where he was a caretaker, which of course is corroborated by the receipts in the case, and then to his now permanent home he shares with his wife in Madison, Florida. So the voluminous amount of unrefuted testimony,
he says,
established that this complaint should be dismissed. Now, of course, I would argue that the 2 most significant facts the court doesn't have to deal with that are counter to our position is that Mr. Fishback did in fact sign 2 documents that can get him a host of legal problems. One, swearing for a mortgage that he lived there, and another one to vote there. But he heard, and of course it was unrefuted again, that he's seeing boilerplate language. He's not reading it, it's not being read to him. There are no lawyers in the room, there are no witnesses, there are no attestations of anybody that he truly understood what's going on. He's pushing his finger on an electronic device, not even registering his own party, which of course he very well known as a member of one party over the other. He's pushing a button in order to vote in a national election because he couldn't make it back to Florida in time. And the other document...
Man, I wonder, because I don't know if it's an ego thing or what, but like he makes himself sound like so knowledgeable in everything. Like, I worked at a hedge fund and we knew the interest rates, and so obviously the mortgage, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, well, damn, man, you seem like a smart guy and you know a lot of shit. So how did you not know how to sign your mortgage documents? I don't know. I wonder if that hurts him or not. I don't know. Maybe the judge doesn't give a fuck or whatever.
The mortgage payment, he's making a fast financial decision to get the money in his pocket so he can make an investment quick while interest rates are low. He's not actually has any understanding. There's no evidence to pertain or to show this court that he had any understanding that he was making a true legal attestation.
Do you want Fishback to win this? I mean, I want whoever's in the right to win this. I don't have like a strong opinion on whether or not he gets stricken from the ballot like this. Yeah, I have a strong investment one way or another.
The prosecutor in D.C., based on the merit of his testimony, the honesty of his testimony, could look at this and say, you know what, he got that mortgage and he voted there, and so we have jurisdiction to investigate him and to potentially bring a claim against him, a cause of action, a statute or indictment against him. He said today, under oath in this court, that if that's what happens, that's what happens. But he knows, and he testified, that if he said it wasn't true, that he'd be lying to you, Your Honor, in this court. He would be lying to the people of the state of Florida if he said today that he was a resident at that time, because he was not. And he's not willing to lie. And again, that's unrefuted testimony in this case, Your Honor. And we hope that the court dismisses the complaint.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sabatini. Well, let me just say 2 things before we wrap up. First, I think it is much more difficult for attorneys to outline legal arguments and develop facts when you have literally fire sale timeframe. I mean, you just, I don't know of any other case, other than an election case like this, where lawyers are forced to move so quickly.
Oh my God, this judge is a glazer, dude. Holy shit. You guys have done a great job. Congratulations. My goodness.
And I just want to say, I thought the briefing papers, and you filed detailed briefing papers, I thought they were timely, first of all. Secondly, they were well-written and well-researched. I think you've done your clients a great service, because the work product I saw from the attorneys in this case was very, very good. Makes my job a little harder, but very good. Very, Vince, a great service, because the work product I saw from the attorneys in this case was very, very good. Makes my job a little harder, but very good. Very, very good, and I appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to say is, I'm tempted to see if I can get you to agree to get me the proposed orders quicker than what I said in my scheduling order. I think I said 5 days after the hearing. Is that right?
Your Honor, you said 3 days.
I said 3?
So I think I looked at Friday, which is reasonable. We have some travel, but you said 3, I believe, in your order.
Okay. Well, we probably can't get shorter than that unless you want to.
How fast can the court reporter get turned the transcript?
That I don't know.
If you need expedited, we can get it ready by tomorrow.
We'll take expedited tomorrow.
Yeah, Your Honor, I think Friday is reasonable.
We can turn it to you by Friday.
Thursday would be tight.
Mr. Sabatini, by 5 p.m. Friday, can
My client wants Thursday, I want Friday, but I have to go with my client, so Thursday would be fine, and we'll do an expedited order also.
Thursday okay with y'all?
If tomorrow's Wednesday, we get it tomorrow, it might be tight, but I prefer.
We have a day of travel in there, Your Honor.
We better go with Friday. It's going to be tough to get it by Thursday.
Jeez, it must be nice. An agreed upon proposed order. When they say proposed order here, it's like an order for the case for how they want the judge to rule, I guess. Must be nice to have meet and confers where the lawyers actually talk to each other and try to come to some kind of mutual agreement. I still can't. It's funny now in retrospect, looking back on, now that I understand a little bit more for like civil procedure stuff, the fact that we had a meet and confer so early in my court case, and the day after the first meet and confer, Pixie's lawyers dropped a motherfucking TRO.